Hi everybody, I'm Ross Scheck-Snyder with Lagniappe Theatre Company. We're here at the Lagniappe Theatre Event Center, and we've been asked by the Rapides Parish Library to put together a couple of makeup looks for you for Halloween so you can do makeup at home. This is my son Rhett. Say hi.
Hi.
He's going to be turned into a Dalmatian puppy today, and we're going to show you how to do that. We picked a couple of different looks. We're going to show you some different things that you can do. And also, some of his friends are going to be joining us, so we can put some makeup on them as well. So let's get to the things that you're going to need. We're going to start with the Dalmatian puppy. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need some white makeup. Now, I like to use, I'm using a professional grade makeup. It's real easy to put on, but you can go to the local Halloween store or even local store that sells any sort of Halloween makeup or anything, and you can get it there as well. This first one here, this is by a company called Mayron. I love these sticks. This one is white. This one is black. We'll be using these two colors to make our Dalmatian today. You will also need some red, and the red will be used to make the tongue of the Dalmatian. And also, you don't have to have these things, but I recommend them, especially if you're going to be going trick-or-treating and everything, especially as hot as it gets here in Louisiana. This is a neutral powder that you can put on. It helps set the makeup, and you don't have to have this also, but you can if you can find it. This is a makeup sealer. They actually sell these at makeup stores here in town. This one is specifically made for this. This is one called Ben Nye Final Seal, and this is just a generic translucent powder that we're going to put on. And so here are some things that you're going to need. Also, to apply it, you're going to need some brushes. Okay, I like to have just a couple of brushes that I like to use. The first one is I like to have a flat brush. You can get these at the local craft store. You don't have to go get special makeup brushes. Paint brushes will work just fine. Go over to the craft section where they sell the paint brushes at any store, and you can pick these up. This is a fat one. I also like to always have a sashed brush. This is one that's cut at an angle. These are great for doing if you need to do squiggly lines, or if you need to do something with a curve in it, or really, really fine ones. These give you a nice fine tip to work with. The fat ones like this are great for filling in large areas. Also, I always like to have a nice, stiff, little tiny brush like this. So you'll see the size difference between the fat one and the small one right here. These are great. You can find one that's a little tiny millimeter brush, and this one's actually a number 4. This one's a number 12. But a number 4 brush is one of my favorite ones to use, especially for doing detail work. And also, just for those little bitty tiny things, this one right here is a super tiny brush. You can see how small the head is on that one right there. So you'll need a couple of these. These are actually all you need. These 4 brushes make it super simple, and these can be found at the local craft store. Also, one of our major things that we use are makeup wedges. Now, everybody has a different opinion on what kind of wedges to use. I prefer to use these very simple ones you can find at the local drugstore or at any store here in town. These makeup wedges, they're great for a couple of reasons, and I'll show you how. You can squeeze them, and it allows you to do some detail work there. You can use the tip here, same thing. Also, it's great for spreading makeup. I prefer to find the foam rubber style because the makeup doesn't actually go into it. They make another style that has a bigger pores in it, but the foam rubber, the makeup actually sits on top of it as opposed to going into the sponge. So that way you can spread it a whole lot easier. But again, all of these colors here, you can find at a local Halloween store or at a local department store that sells any kind of Halloween makeup. Again, for the Dalmatian look, we just need a black, we need a white, we need a red. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with red. All right, Mr. Rhett, let's go ahead and get started doing your makeup. All right, I'm gonna turn the camera here towards Rhett so you can see him nice and centered. So sit right back in the chair, my big boy. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is, you can get this any kind that you want. We're gonna put a little moisturizer on Rhett's face. It's always important to put a little moisturizer on before you start. The main reason is that makeup, especially for kids and everything like that who don't wear it very often, it can clog their pores. So what we wanna do is you wanna start with a little bit of moisturizer on the face. We're just gonna push that all there. You don't have to get a super greasy one, just something that's gonna give us a nice base to start off with. Okay, here's a little bit more here. Put right here on the forehead. Yeah, he doesn't always like doing this, but he did like being a Dalmatian dog. Okay, the first thing you want to do, I always tell everybody, I'm going to do this from memory, but the first thing I like to tell everybody to do is make a drawing of what you're going to do, because then you have something to figure out so you know exactly where you're going to put everything. So I've already done this on him several times before, especially in like 101 Dalmatians, which was a super fun show. So we're going to do that on him right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our biggest thing, which is going to be our white. Okay, take our white makeup here, And also you want to make sure whatever makeup you get, it spreads really well, because things like this, there's sometimes they can be expired or something like that. So it's always good if you can just take it out and test it out and make sure that it's still got a good spreadability, because a lot of times you'll get makeup that does not. All right, so we know that we're going to put black and white spots on him. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the majority of his face here, all right, with this. All right, so we're going to start right here. And we're going to start up on the top on his forehead, because you know that we're going to get that in here. You can go ahead and go right through the eyebrows. That's okay, because the great thing about black and white is that black pretty much covers everything. This is Rhett's normal face when I'm putting makeup on him. So what we're going to do is I'm using the flat part of this sponge right here to do it. Hey, Rhett, close your eyes for me. So you want to make sure that they don't close their eyes like squinting. You just want them to close them gently so you can go ahead and get the eye as well. Now we're going to give him a big Dalmatian spot on this side, so I'm not going to put a white right there. I'm going to get just to the edge of where I want it, because I'm going to put it right in here and I'm going to color it in. That way we don't have to just waste the makeup and be covering up the white. We will come back with spots and everything, and they'll go right over the white, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So again, flat part of the sponge, the bottom, put it right there into the white makeup. I'll pull his hair back. If you have like a hairband or something like that, it's a good idea to go ahead and put that on them, because it'll keep their hair out of the makeup while you're doing it. There we go. And you want to get it on the whole face. Now, what I like to do is, like, you apply the makeup by dabbing it on, and then you spread it as you're doing it. And that gives you a really nice coverage, because you don't want it to look blotchy. If you start to look blotchy, it usually means you just need to add some more makeup to the sponge. All right, turn your face for me this way, buddy. Other way. Right here. So you'll see right here, we're going to give him a nice big Dalmatian spot. Now, if you don't want to do a Dalmatian, you can do any color you like. You can go get browns and blacks. You can get like a tan makeup, and you can also make any color dog that you want. You don't have to do a Dalmatian, but black and white are normally the easiest colors to find at the Halloween store. They always have these, so that's why we've chosen these for today to do the Dalmatian dog. All right. Get right over here and make your lips normal. You want to go ahead and get his lips too, because when we put the black makeup on his lips to make his dog mouth, we want to make sure that there's something that will spread on there real easily. So we want to make sure you just get in the corners here. All right, close your eye for me one more time. And I always tell them to do this. Close your eye and look up at the same time. But close your eye real gently. And what that does, it stretches the eyelid out. And that way you don't have to necessarily put your finger in their eye or anything like that. All right, so we've applied our white. And here's the great thing. Don't worry about being too specific when you do this and trying to do it perfect right now, because you can always come back later. What we're doing is just putting the base on. Okay, now we've turned him white, as you can see. Take a look at the camera right there. You see, he's now white. All right, now we're going to do our detail work. I'm going to start by taking that sashed brush. Thank you very much, Rhett. Taking that sashed brush right there so we can do kind of circles. And we're going to take our black makeup. Sit down for me, please, in the chair so I can do your face. Very good. All right, we're going to take this black makeup right here, and we're going to take our brush, and what you don't want to do is you don't want to just dab it in there. You want to just kind of get it on the sides of the brush like this, because we're going to be making a nice point right here. As you can see, I've taken it, and I'm going to just kind of go back and forth just like that. All right, now we're going to get to Mr. Rhett. Now he's whitened up a little bit, so I'm going to change my settings on my camera. Okay, have a seat flat for me, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and draw his big spot over his eye, all right? So turn your face for me this way, all right? And as you can see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just kind of making where I want it to go. So I'm going to start, and you can see the sash brush does a really good job at drawing different kinds of shapes. So right there, he now has kind of a big spot that I'm creating, all right? So I'm gonna go back with my brush again, get it on both sides, and I'm gonna go back and fill that in a little bit tighter. Okay, open your eye for me. I want to be able to see. All right. So I'm gonna draw kind of a nice little, you know, not a circle, because the spots on dogs aren't normally circles, all right? Now, you'll see that I've gotten this, and I'm gonna go ahead and go back, and anytime that I feel like it's not the shape that I want, I'll just go right back with the brush and do it again. Okay, now this brush is really good for that. It's not good for filling in. So what we're gonna do is now, we're gonna take our big fat brush, this number 12 brush right here. Oh, and when the brushes are new, always make sure to take them in your hand and kind of move them around a little bit, because they'll be kind of stiff before they've been, the bristles will be kind of stuck together. So we're gonna put our same thing we did before, put it right on here. We don't want, we wanna get a good amount. All right, now Rhett, close your eye for me. and we're just gonna fill in that with this brush. Okay? Now you can also do this with the sponge, which is I'm gonna show you in just a second. But with the brush, the good thing is that I can control how close to the edge I get. If you're not really used to using a makeup sponge, you can do this with just the tip, just the brush. Okay, now we're gonna make sure we get that eye really well, okay? Now, we're gonna go nice and around, get it nice and smooth. Got all that makeup in there now. And don't be afraid to be generous with it, okay? But you always want to spread it out. If you see it clumping or anything like that, or you see a spot doesn't look just like it's been spread nice and smoothly, you want to go back over it again. So I'm going to go a little outside the line here. Fix that. There we go. Okay, don't move. And it's hard, sometimes kids get itchy or something like that. They start to itch or something. Tell them not to, okay, here's what I want you to do. Tell them to take their finger and just kind of poke it like that to start to itch. Now, we're going to get under his eye because you can see that there's still a big spot that I haven't gotten. So what I'm going to tell them to do is I want you to look up as high as you can. Keep your eye open and look up. I'm not going to put this in your eye. Just be very still. And you just want to kind of go with a sweeping motion under the eye. You don't want to poke or anything because that'll make him blink more. But we just want to get a nice sweeping motion and you won't get the makeup in their eye. There we go. Now, if you feel like that isn't spread out enough, the best tool to use is another makeup sponge. Try to have enough of them. They come in a nice big bag. I usually get them in a whole bunch. Now, some people like the kind that are round, shaped like an egg. That's really useful around the eye as well. But this has been my favorite tool to use because it's just been the one I've used for the longest. Now, if I feel like this isn't spread out enough, close your eye for me. I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to use this to spread it out just a little bit more. And the good thing about a makeup sponge is that that's what it's perfect for, is for spreading. And now I'm just gonna gently work it out. Okay, now you'll see that Rhett has all of his nice spots, his big spot right here. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make his nose, okay? Again, using that sashed brush because it's the best one to do this with. Thank you for showing your nice Muppet mouth. All right, here we go. All right, we're gonna do his nose. Now the doggy nose is very simple. What we're gonna do is we're not just gonna do a big circle on his nose. We're actually gonna do like, make a heart shape. We're gonna start right here at the very tip of his nose, and we're gonna make a heart shape. You're gonna take the brush, and you're gonna want, wherever you go when your line follows, wherever your line goes, you want the short end of the brush where the line starts and the long end. So I'm gonna be going in a motion like this to make the top of the heart. So I'm actually gonna start right here in the center of his nose, and I'm gonna go this direction down his nostril. And you'll notice that this brush will follow right there, and we can smooth that out. I'm gonna go one more like this. Yes, my big boy. No, they're not here yet. All right, here we go. Now, we're gonna go from right here, and we're gonna do another sweeping motion, and we're just gonna follow that nostril all the way down. So we make that nice straight line. Let me see. Great. And then we'll just fill it in. Since we're already here with this brush, it'll work pretty much for this little stuff like this. And also that little tip is great for doing little detail sweeps if you want to do like that. Yeah. Take a look at that. Okay, now we're going to stick with that, and we're going to take our brush, the same brush we're using right now, our sashed brush right here, get a little more makeup on there, and now we're going to make that little doggy mouth right here down the center. See how we're just tapping it? See how easy that stuff will get all in? Be careful, don't rub it on your pants. You always want to have paper towels handy. All right, lean your head back for me a little bit. Sit up and lean back on your head. Okay, now we're gonna go right down the center here, right in the middle of the nose, down to his lip. Okay, now watch. And see how that makes a nice straight line? It's very good. Now that we've done that, we're gonna fill that in just a little bit more so that we've got it nice and connected. All right, I see a spot where I missed on his nose, and that's the great thing. If you miss a spot, just go back and fill it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no way to mess it up. There's just a more creative way to do it. And we're gonna take this, make it nice and straight. Now, I'm gonna follow his lips right here. I'm gonna get a little bit more makeup on my brush, and I'm just gonna follow his lips. Now, I'm just gonna do a nice little turn down, just right here, just on the top lip. Okay, just right there. And then I'm gonna follow his bottom lip and give him a nice little smiley dog face. Keep your lips together for me, right there. And then I'm gonna come right over here with that too. And we're gonna paint those lips in. Now see how it gives him a nice smiley dog mouth? All right. And you can actually make this to where his lip is more angled, just like that. Give him more of that dog look. Good. Don't move for me. And that sash brush does a great job of making these little points. Yeah. All right, now once I've done this, I would tell Rhett, rub your lips together for me real quick. Get all that filled in. It makes it a whole lot easier than me trying to. Okay, stop. Now you can see he's got his little dog mouth going here, right? Now we're gonna take the same sashed brush and we're gonna give him some eyebrows now, because he needs some doggy eyebrows. So we've covered up his regular eyebrow. We're gonna go right above that, and we're just gonna paint it on just like this. Give him some nice, happy eyebrows. Make it a little thicker at the beginning and a little sharper at the end. There we go. There's one doggy eyebrow. And we're gonna make him another doggy eyebrow. It's gonna come right over to the other side. Usually I like to just take a look at his face and measure it from side to side. Turn your head a little bit this way, there you go. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna draw it right on. Make it a little thicker at the beginning here. And what we're gonna do is now we're gonna give him some little flutters in his eyebrow, just like this, to make him look a little bit more like a puppy. Okay? And what you do is with that is you just kind of start, and then you just lift the brush, and it gives it a little bit of a point, and we're gonna come back and fix these in just a second. All right, now, I'm gonna take this right here. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Take a little bit. There we go. And you kind of just start heavy and then just let the brush do the work for you. Now I'm gonna come back over here and do it again. Kind of fill those in real well. Perfect. Alrighty. Now, you'll see that Rhett has nice big eyebrows, and he's got his mouth going now, and his nose. So all we gotta do now is have to put a few spots on him, okay? So there's a couple different ways that you can do spots. The first way you can do it is with a brush. The other way you can do it is with your sponge. All right, so I'm gonna show you the sponge way first, because it's one of the ones that I like to do the best. You can take your sponge just like this. We'll dip it into the black makeup, like this, all right? And then we're gonna make a big spot with this, okay? So we're gonna come to the side of his face where he doesn't have one. We're gonna take our sponge, and after we're gonna push it, and then we're gonna twist all the way around, and it's gonna make a spot. So this is gonna be a big spot. So we're just gonna take it, and there's a big spot on his face. Now, you can do the same thing with the brush. Now, the best brush to do is with the smaller the brush, the more the smaller the spot's going to be. But you do the exact same thing. You take the brush, we're gonna give him some smaller spots near his small one. So next to this big one, I mean. We're gonna take this right here, and we're just gonna take the brush and we're gonna twist. And there's a spot. And then we're gonna make another spot right here. All right? And then we'll make another one right up here. Okay? The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take an even smaller brush. This size right here, this one was one of my favorite ones to use, a little stubby brush. And then we're gonna put some makeup on there. And then we're gonna actually paint some circles around. We're gonna put one right down here on this side. And we're just gonna make our circle, and then we're just gonna fill it in like that. And then we're gonna do another one right here. And then I would just vary them up. You don't have to do them all the same size, however you like to do them. You'll notice he's starting to have that Dalmatian look now. Come right up here by his eye. I'm gonna do a bigger one right here. Same thing right here. Just keep drawing a circle, and until you get it to the size you like, just keep going out. The great thing about a Dalmatian spot is that it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. In fact, the more oblong they are sometimes, the better they look, because they don't need to look exactly perfect. So I'm gonna do another one up here above his eyebrow, and I'm gonna put one right here on his nose. As you can see, we're starting to get that real Dalmatian look. I'm gonna come down here and put a big one. You notice that one wasn't as dark. So I'm gonna have to put a little bit more makeup on there. And I'll go back and I'll fill it in again, because now it won't be so gray. But start in the middle and work your way out, because it helps you from making where they're not. I'm gonna take that big one we did with the sponge, and I'm just gonna take this little brush and fill it in. So now you see, he's got all of his little spots. And when you feel like you've done enough spots, then what you can do is, we're gonna work on his tongue. Now that's when the little stubby brush comes in real handy. I always have paper towels nearby so I can wipe my brushes off. I also like to use makeup wipes or baby wipes to get all the makeup off whenever you're trying to do in between different colors. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw his little cute tongue. And what we've got right here, we've got our red. We're gonna open our red up. Take our red just like this. And the big thing is whenever you're putting the makeup on something like this, you wanna make it to where it's as sharp as possible, okay? So you want a nice thin brush when you're doing it. That way you can make these little things. So we're gonna start right here and we're gonna give him a little tongue. And we're just gonna basically just draw a U to start off with. And there's our U, all right? And we're gonna come back over it and just make sure it's nice and even. And then we're gonna fill it in with our red. We're gonna go all the way up to his lip, right here. And we can drag a little bit of that black in there actually, and it'll give the inside a little bit different color, which will actually make it stand out a little better. All right. We need a little bit more red there. We'll come down right here. Okay. Alrighty. Now we have that big tongue. Now what we're going to do is, to make sure that it looks like a tongue, we're going to take a little bit of black using our same little skinny stubby brush. And we're just going to draw ourselves a little line right down the center of that, just like this. As you can see. Now, if you want to make the detail on it a little bit better, you can actually come around the edge of it with your black, and you can give it a little bit of an outline. He's real still for me. And that'll make that tongue stand out a little more. And if you want to make it look even more realistic, add just a couple little spots on the tongue. Just kind of take the brush real quickly. Just kind of add in a couple little spots there and there. Now, I'm going to take his smiley mouth. And I'm just going to fix these little areas right here. Make them a little sharper. And then the final thing, what do you think we're missing right now, Mr. Rhett? What do all dogs and cats have right here?
Whiskers.
That's right. We need to make some whiskers. So the way I like to make whiskers is I like to take that little bitty stubby brush yet again. And what we're going to do is we're going to make little circles to start off with. So we're going to make a circle here. We'll make another little circle here. And one right there. And one right there. And then one right there. All right. Now we've made some little whisker holes. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to make that one more whisker hole right there. Now we're going to do another whisker hole. A whisker hole right there. Right there, right there. And again, if you want to make them skinnier, you just don't push as hard. And then we'll make another one right there and right there. Then we're going to take our black right here, and I'm just going to make a streak for a whisker. We're not going to make super long whiskers because he's a little boy, he doesn't have a really big face. So we're just going to go like this. There's a whisker. There's a whisker. A whisker. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Make some more whiskers. Here we go. Whisker. All right. So you see that now he's got all of his whiskers. He's got his spots. He's got his eyebrows. And again, if you want to come back and fix something, you feel like something's not exactly how you want it, you can always come back in with the little bitty brush. And the little bitty brush gives you the ability to make those shapes look a little bit better because you can fill in a smaller area. All right. Now, I'm going to go like this, 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 right there. Now, you see all the stuff that we've done. Now, the next thing we're going to do is one of the hardest things. Now, if you want to do eyes and everything like that, you can. What you do is with the eye, if with kids, it's really the biggest thing is you tell them to do is you want to say, okay, look up for me, please. Okay? And you're going to stretch out the eyelid just like this. And then you just go right underneath it. Oh, be still. I'm not going to stick it in your eye as long as you're still. And just go real slow. And now what we've done is, now you can actually see his eye a little bit better. See that? Now, one thing a lot of people don't do, but I tell everybody in Louisiana, if you're going to go outdoors especially, is that you want to seal your work. So what we do with that is we get our finishing powder. This is a translucent finishing powder. They actually carry this at most Halloween stores. And a lot of ladies, if you ever have to put on anything like airbrush makeup and things like that, although it dries, you may have to put on a finishing on top of it to keep it from melting off whenever you sweat. What I like to do with this is you take it And take yourself a paper towel, because it will go everywhere. Is take your paper towel here, and then just dump you a good amount of powder right there on the, so you can see, right there on the paper towel. Now there's two ways you can do this. One, you can use a powder puff, but the thing with a powder puff I find is that it smears it. What I like to do is I just like to take a regular old very heavy bristle brush, like a blush brush or something like that, with a whole lot of bristles. The bigger and thicker the better. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to take it and we're going to dip it directly into that powder, just like that. We're going to get this thing all powdered up. You see all that powder I have right there? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sit back for me. Sit back for me. What we're going to do is we're going to take this right here, and then we're going to actually just stick it right into the makeup. We don't want to smear. We don't want to pull the makeup. We just want to stick it in there, just like this, okay? Just like you see. We're going to take this right here and do the same thing. The main places we really want to do it are on the parts that are black, okay? Or these colored parts. And you know, it can make you, it's not going to make you sneeze or anything. It doesn't irritate the nose, but you kind of want to get it all over the entire face, and then I'll show you why. Now, you can just do the powder, but the problem with the powder is it will deaden the colors and everything. It's okay, buddy. It's going to deaden those colors a little bit, but when you add the finishing spray, some people say you can use water. Water tends to not actually do as well with this. Hold on, I got it. And you'll notice that this isn't smearing the makeup because I've got plenty of powder on the tip of my brush here to make sure that the powder doesn't smear. Now I'm going to get it on all these big heavy sections, and this way, when the kids are running around outside trick-or-treating and everything, their makeup will last and it won't fall off. So we just put on our translucent powder. The next thing we're going to do is put on our finishing spray. Now, the one thing I'll tell you about finishing spray is that it has glycerin in it, which can irritate the eyes for just a few minutes. So you want to make sure you have something nearby you, like a folder or a book or something like that, so you can fan their face with it. We just put the powder on Red's face, and we're now going to take the finishing spray and we're going to spray it on real quick, okay? Close your eyes for me real tight. Close your eyes, close your mouth and your eyes real tight. You ready? I'm going to tell you when. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You don't have to use a lot. You want to get it in any place that the powder was, all right? Now it is kind of intense. It has a mint kind of flavor to it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to fan it until it dries, because that glycerin in there makes it dry really, really fast. All right? And whenever, it will make the eyes water a little bit, but once it's on, you good? Now what'll happen is you'll notice I can touch that black makeup and it's not coming off of my finger. I can touch his tongue and none of that red is coming off of my finger. You'll notice right there, see? That's the good thing about this glycerin and the makeup set. Now he could run around outside and sweat and his makeup won't run, it'll stay on his face. So that is how we do a Dalmatian. Get right up close, right there, right, and show him your Dalmatian face. Let's see, it's a little too close, back up just a little bit, there you go. You'll notice his nice Dalmatian face, eyebrows, spots, and everything. And you can do this at home. Remember, don't worry about messing it up. The more important thing is you can only find a more creative way to do it. If your spots are too big, live with them too big. If you don't like them that much, grab a makeup wipe, wipe it off, start again. And that's how you make a Dalmatian face. All right, we'll see you for the next video in just a minute. Say bye, Rhett.